Brock Turner is a rapist who was recently convicted of assaulting a woman while she was unconscious behind a dumpster near Stanford University. The case is pretty inarguable. 2 witnesses found Turner assaulting the woman. They recognized that she was unconscious. And when Turner saw them, he took off running and they had to chase him down and tackle him. Turner's defense is that the sex was consensual, which makes absolutely no sense at all because 2 random witnesses could see that the woman was unconscious, and he claims that he couldn't. And he took off running, I suppose, because he just wanted to go for a jog. And also a dumpster is the place where he goes to have sex with women consensually. Absolutely none of it made sense. And the jury agreed, which is why they convicted him. Despite the fact that this was an open and shut case for the jury, the judge in the trial, Judge Persky, felt so bad for Brock Turner that he sentenced him to only 6 months in prison, which is 18 months less than the recommended minimum sentence. A lot of people are pointing out that Judge Persky is, like Turner, an ex-Stanford athlete, but you don't even need a conflict of interest like that to know that this was probably going to happen. Unfortunately, way too many rapists go completely unprosecuted, and of those that are prosecuted, a lot of them don't ever get convicted. And of those that do get convicted, the rich white ones do generally get a slap on the wrist. In fact, the judge was probably just basing his sentencing off of the recommendation of the probation officer, which was incredibly sympathetic to Turner. What is particularly galling about all of this is that the sentencing came just after Turner's victim delivered one of the best speeches I have ever read in my entire life. And if you haven't read it, if you haven't read every single word of it, then drop whatever you're doing right now and go do it. And I know that what you're doing right now is watching this video. I'm perfectly comfortable with you pausing it here, going and reading every word that the victim wrote. I'll have the links over on my Patreon page. I can only imagine that Judge Persky was busy playing solitaire or something while the victim read her statement, because it's one of the most moving things that I've ever read. The victim describes what she went through immediately after the assault and also in the year following as she was dragged through the court system by Turner, who has to this day refused to admit that he did anything wrong other than drink too much. And she makes it really clear that she has been completely irrevocably damaged by this entire ordeal. And Persky did not in any way sympathize with that. He only sympathized, apparently, with Turner and with Turner's dad, who said that Turner shouldn't be punished for what amounted to 20 minutes of action. It's a complete miscarriage of justice, and the only good news is that a Stanford law professor, Michelle Landis Dauber, is leading a campaign to recall the judge and get him off the bench for good. You can show your support by signing a Change.org petition, or you can fill out a formal complaint with the state of California. Possibly the worst part of all of this is that Turner's lawyer is going to appeal the jury's decision anyway, which is just going to drag the victim through even more torture, forcing her to relive her rape over and over and over again. Considering the recently published research showing that most rapes may be done by repeat offenders, let's hope that that appeal fails and that we can at least get a few months of having a rapist off the streets.